Welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I want to ask you a question. What do you do when your kids say, "Hey mom, dad, can I show you something?"
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm posing the question, what do you do when your child comes up to you and says, "Can I show you something?" Or, "Here, come look at what I'm doing." What is the response? Is it, "Give me a minute"? Is it, "What do you want? What do you want to show me?" Or do you simply stand up and go and entertain whatever it is they want to share? My wife and I went to a marriage event several weeks ago. And what they said, and I was glad that my wife and I do this, they said that couples who engage in what the other person is doing, I forget what they called it. So for instance, when a couple engages in what the other person is doing, they take an interest in what the other person is doing, they're more likely to stay together longer. This is even when we don't want to do that. So for instance, I'm a huge football fan. My wife could care less about the sport. She can be entertained by a game. She knows the basic rules, but it can tell you more times than not, after 10 years of being with me, and it's probably my one vice is watching football on Sundays. My wife knows how they score, but any intricacies of any rules, I don't understand why they do that. And then I'll try to explain it, she'll entertain. But I've explained the same rules hundreds of times, which means I know that she's uninterested. Not only that, if there was an incredible catch, I'm like, babe, come check out this. I know she has no desire to pay attention to what I think is an incredible catch. And she goes, "Don't they get paid to do that?" She'll come over and watch. But listen to what I'm about to say. I do the same for her. I can't tell you how many times I may be in the other room and she's on the other side of the house in the office, and she'll say, "Babe, can you come look at something?" And she's showing me what she's ordering online. Like, look at this great deal on Amazon. Or, look, I looked everywhere and I found this beautiful blouse. And all I can think of as a man, and to be quite frank and honest, babe, if you're listening to this, I do this because I love you. But all I can think is, don't you have 1,000 in your closet already? Why do we need another one? I'm just a man. That's our mentality. But because she's excited, or she found a deal, or she found that perfect blouse to go for that perfect event, I just smile and say, "That's great, babe. Are you buying it?" "I think I am. What do you think?" I think you should do that for yourself. But it's never, or rarely, I won't say never, because never doesn't really exist, but it's rarely do I say to her, "Really? You want me to get up? I mean, what are you going to show me this time?" We don't do that. We engage in what the other person is interested in. Same thing with our children. When our children are asking us to look at something in our lives, or in their lives, they're saying, "I want to share this with you because you are important to me and this is important to me." So the example in my house is my son could talk about a video game for weeks. He just is fascinated by them. And he knows every character and everybody's name and this, that, and the other. But it's even something as simple as, hey, Dad, check out something I just drew. And he'll show me, and I am enamored. I'm like, oh my God, that is amazing. What is it? Dad, can I show you something? Yeah, just give me 1 minute and I will definitely be there and finish up what I'm doing and go over there. And it'll be something completely silly or something that I typically wouldn't be overly enthusiastic about, right? But it's important to him, and therefore it becomes important to me. Just the other day, he has this treasure chest in the house, and he's upstairs, and very rarely is he upstairs when we're downstairs. And he just, hey, Dad, can you come here for a minute? And I was like, where are you? It came from an area of the house that I just wasn't used to hearing his voice from. And he's in his bedroom. And I was like, sure, I'll be right up. What's going on? He's like, I'm looking for something. And I walk in the room, and he has this treasure chest, which is in his closet. And he pulls it out. And his treasure chest, just so you get an idea or a visual of this, is all of the little trinkets that we've collected over the years. Whether they're out of a, for lack of a better term, a gumball machine, or something out of the treasure chest at school that he's collected, all these reward toys, all these, less than $1.50 toys, beads, playing cards, trading cards, you name it, it's in this fairly large treasure chest. And he says, I know that, and this thing is packed to the gills, and it's probably the size of a toaster oven box. If you could picture a box that a toaster oven would go in, it's fairly large with hundreds of these trinkets. I was going to say thousands, but I don't know there's that many. And he goes, I know I'm looking for this particular one, and I can visualize and see what it is. And I said, well, why do you need it? Because it goes with this whole other bunch, and I found every one. I can't find this one, but I know it's in here. And he's a fairly neat kid. His mom is very tidy. So he's trying to dig through this thing, and I just take the whole thing, and I was like, I just dump it all over the floor. And he goes, you're crazy. I said, I'm not crazy. I want to find it. And it's a lot easier for me to find it by dumping it on the floor and just starting putting things back in that are not it, and eventually I'll come to it. And after about 2 handfuls, I found it immediately. I said, there you go. And he's like, that's awesome, Dad. Thanks. And I was like, well, let's clean up this mess. Let's see how fast we can do it together. See, I engaged with him. I made what looked like was a chore to him, but something he's very interested in. I have no desire to dig through a treasure chest, but we made it fun in the moment. And he thanked me. Like, hey, Dad, thanks for finding that for me. Thanks for showing me a better way. Thank you for showing me a fun way that was kind of messy, but we cleaned it up within, seconds. If it took us 60 seconds to do that, I would be amazed if we would have timed it. And it got done quicker, and I immediately came up and engaged in his world. Now, why did he want to find this? Because he just got some new ones as a reward at school, and he wanted last year's rewards to get there, basically a bunch of keychains combined with this year's rewards. Now he has 20 of these cool little keychains, and he just wanted them all on one big keychain. It's kid stuff, but it's fun for him. It's his stuff that he earned for doing well, and he wanted to bring me into his world, and therefore I went into his world. If I don't go into his world now, and listen, I don't know jack about parenting, people. That's the whole title of this. This is all stuff that just starts making sense to me. I don't know jack about parenting, but I do know if I don't want to engage in his world when he's 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, why is he going to want to ask me those difficult questions next year, in the following year, and when it gets really tough? It's real easy to ask your dad to look for something in a treasure box, but if Dad says no to that, what's going to happen when he says, Dad, I met this girl and I really like her. You'll figure it out. But do I really want to give him some sound advice? But if I don't give him sound advice today, he's not going to ask for sound advice later. And if he does, and I blow him off, he's going to stop asking. So you need to, and I need to engage in our children early and often so that we build a relationship of trust and dependability and good sound advice. And it's making me think of something not too long ago. If you go back to the episode on weapons, toy weapons that my son wanted to make, in that episode I talk about how I had advised him that nobody wants to buy weapons for their kids. But I give him this advice before we try to go sell his toy wooden weapons. And I say, there's not a parent out there that wants to buy a weapon for their child. And the very first person who comes up and reads the sign is a mom, and she goes, I don't think I want to buy weapons for my kid. That builds credibility with your child. See, I didn't just let him go fail. I said, listen, this is what daddy believes, but let's go figure it out. Let's put it into the marketplace. I engaged in his thought process. He looked at me and goes, maybe this wasn't the best idea. I said, it's a great idea. We just need to execute it a little bit differently next time. You could sell these wooden toys. We just can't call them weapons. We could build things and sell them. There's a marketplace for this stuff. But guess what? And that's your world. You want to be a little entrepreneur? Let daddy help you. He sold a thing or two in his life. Let me help you, and we'll do it right, because I want you to have success. I want you to enjoy this process of making something, creating something, and feeling as though you solved someone's problem through your product. Whether that's a glass of lemonade and somebody's thirsty, or whether somebody wants to play Cowboys and Indians at the park with their friends, and you just happen to have the materials that they need when they wanted to play that game. It brings a sense of joy to an entrepreneur to solve those problems for a profit. And the profit part doesn't stink either. So how are you engaging with your kids when they're attempting to engage with you? That's a thought for you to ponder. And pay attention to the next time they're asking you to step into their world. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.